Hello, Snickers and Butterfingers. All right, so everybody should have a worksheet that says Snickers and Butterfingers, Monday, November 3rd. All right, so the worksheets that we're going to be doing for this next week and the beginning of this week and the beginning of next week will all be really focused on getting us prepared for our benchmark, which I believe will be either that Friday or the following Monday, depending on whether you're Tuskegee or Howard. So we've got about 2 weeks to really get ready for this benchmark. So make sure that when you're back here on the computer, you're really focused on getting these problems right, because you're going to see very, very similar problems in 2 weeks. All right, so let's look at the first question. Today the focus is going to be on combining like terms and then doing a little trick with multiplication that we haven't really gone over with Ms. Perez, but we need to know for the test. All right, so the first question, number 1, we have 8x plus 4y minus 6x plus 2y plus 1. All right, so I remember that Ms. Perez told me in class that when I have a bunch of numbers like this, I can only combine terms that have the same variable or that don't have a variable at all. So the very first thing I want to do is go through and figure out which terms can I combine. So first, I'm going to look for all the terms with an x and put a square around them. So I have 8x, put a square around that. Then I see minus 6x, but I remember that the sign is also important because that means I need to take away 6x. So I'm going to box the entire sign, minus 6x. I don't see anything else with x's, so next I'm going to go through and put a circle around all the terms that have 4y. Again, all the terms that have y. And again, I'm making sure to include the sign. So I have plus 4y, that gets a circle, and then I have plus 2y. Lastly, I'm going to underline all the terms that don't have a variable, and I just see one right here. So I'm going to underline my plus 1. All right, now, before I combine them, I'm going to rewrite this expression, grouping the terms that are the same, or grouping the like terms, so that it's going to make it easier for me to add up in the end. So first, I'm going to group everything that has a square around it, all the x's. So I'll have 8x minus 6x, because those are my two terms. Remember, keep the sign the same. Now I'm going to add the terms that have a y. So I have plus 4y and plus 2y. And last but not least, I'm going to add my underlined term here at the end, plus 1. Now I'm almost done, but I still need to go through and combine the terms that are similar. So if I have 8x minus 6x, and I combine these two, that means 8x, and I'm taking away 6x, so this will be 2x. Then I'm going to keep my sign the same because I'm done with my x's. And I have 4y, and I'm adding 2 more y's to it. So this would be 4y plus 2y is 6y. And last but not least, I have my one constant there at the end, so I'll add 1. So when I've combined all my like terms, I'll have 2x plus 6y plus 1. Okay, now let's look at the second problem, because this is the one that I said was a little bit different and we haven't really had a chance to go over. So if you have 4x times 4x, we know that when we multiply, you can change around the order, right? That's the commutative property of multiplication. So you can multiply in any order you want. And I also know that when I have a number next to a variable, it's also multiplication. So I can rewrite this all with a little multiplication sign. 4 times x times 4 times x. I can't simplify unless I know what x is. 4x can't be simplified any further. But I know that this can be simplified further. So what I'm going to do is rearrange the order of the multiplication so that I can multiply the numbers together and the x's together. So then I'll have 4 times 4 times x times x. So then I'm going to multiply it out. 4 times 4 is 16. And then we're multiplying 16 times x It's x squared. So 16 times x squared. So if I simplify this even further by just getting rid of this multiplication sign, because I know a number next to a variable means multiplication anyways, I'll have 16x squared is the same as 4x times 4x. So just even looking back up at this problem, I see multiplication. All I did was combine these two numbers and these two numbers to get that. So you don't even have to write out all the steps. You can just look at this and say, okay, 4 times 4 is 16, and I see 2 x's, so that's x squared. So I want you to try number 3, which is which two of those expressions are equivalent. And so you'll have to combine like terms as well as do this type of multiplication to figure it out. But I know you guys will be able to get this one on your own. Just make sure you're really focused on what you're doing when you're combining your like terms. All right, so finish the rest of this page on your own. And then on the back, we have plotting coordinates worksheet. Because you are going to see plotting coordinates on your benchmark, it's just going to be a little review section. And so make sure that you remember how to do these, and that'll help out anybody who's having trouble. All right, good luck, Snickers and Butterfingers.